Hey guys, we are Justin and Brianna Oliver, and we are so excited to share with you today 3 C's that will help you build a strong relationship. Number 1 is commitment, and commitment is the founding principle of your entire marriage. This is not just the contract that you get at Sprint. It's not just about what kind of service that my phone provider gives me. It's about I am in this for the long haul. And when you are married, when you have a spouse, this is a lasting covenant that you've made with God and with your spouse, that I am in it through rich or poor, through sickness or health, thick or thin, you name it, I'm in it. It's also a commitment that I'm not just going to stay committed to you only, but it's a commitment that says I'm committed to making this the best marriage and the best relationship that we could possibly have.
Number 2 is communication. This is key to your relationship. Without communication, there is no relationship at all. And I know for me as a man, it's hard for me to communicate and to talk about my feelings, but in order to make this relationship the best that it can be, you have to communicate. And the best way to do that is just by getting out there and doing it. Talk about your day, talk about things that interest you, talk about your dreams. When you start talking about these things, it'll make it easier for you, especially the things that are harder to talk about when you're already comfortable talking to your spouse. It may not be the easiest thing to do, but practice makes perfect. Communication is to love what blood is to life. H. Norman Wright said this, and it is so true, and it is so vital to your relationship.
90% of arguments aren't even over what's said, but over the tone of voice that you use to say it in. Be for sure that whenever you're communicating that you're not using sarcasm, because that typically leads to miscommunication. Whenever you use words like you always or you never, it typically puts your spouse on the defensive side. So make for sure you're starting statements with I feel. Whenever you have a big topic that you know what, this is a really big situation and we are going to bring it to each other and might start an argument, make for sure that you're speaking out of love. Make for sure that what you're talking about, pray about it first before you go in and say, you know what, I am sick and tired of you doing this. You always do this. Make for sure you're going into it humbly. Make for sure you're going into it out of love and that your words are not being hurtful. The Bible talks about in Proverbs 15:1 that a soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words lead to stir up anger. Make for sure that our tone of voice is always calm. It's always loving, and you're being very patient when you're going into this. You're not interrupting your person. You're listening to really understand what this person is saying, because sometimes you have to work yourself up to really, this is a problem and I need to address it. I've already prayed about this. I'm going to go in to address it. But sometimes it's really hard to bring those hard topics to your spouse. So make for sure you're listening and you're saying, you know what I'm hearing you say is blah, 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 blah. And so I just want to make for sure that I'm understanding this. Is this what you're really saying to me? But make for sure your tone of voice is also the right tone that you want to have on that conversation. Whenever you're talking, it's important to use eye contact. If I'm talking to Jay, I want him to be looking at me, so that way I know that I have his full attention. And it's not just that because I like to stare into his eyeballs, even though they're gorgeous. I want to make for sure that he's listening to me, that he's hearing me. Be for sure that you are always really making for sure that that person knows that you're hearing them and you're being understood.
The last thing we're going to talk about is compromise. Sometimes in your relationship, you're going to have to make decisions that aren't fun or that you don't want to do, or that your spouse doesn't want to do, but you need to compromise so you can make those decisions clearly. You won't always have it your way, nor should you. In your marriage, you must be willing to give of yourself, not what can I get from my spouse. Marriage is like a team, and like the old saying goes, there's no I in team. Compromise is a way for both you and your spouse to make a decision on something that you can both agree on. In our marriage, whenever Brianna cooks, I will clean, and vice versa. If you spend Thanksgiving with your parents, make sure that you spend Christmas with her parents, or however that you decide to divide up spending time with your family.
Whenever you go into compromising, make for sure that you have an open mind. Search for a common ground of what you know that he wants and what I want. They might be two totally different things, but let's find a common ground that we can really both be happy with the result. Brainstorm some solutions that would be the best type of responses to this dilemma that you guys might be having, and always be willing to adjust your view. I might think that ketchup is the greatest and he hates ketchup. Well, I'm willing to adjust my view. Sometimes I won't always put ketchup on our french fries because I know that's not what his favorite thing is, and I'm willing to adjust my view. I'm willing to put ketchup on the side of my french fries that I can dip it in. These are just, I know it's so cheesy, but that's something that we might have to adjust my view on.
Thanks, guys, for watching. We will be here next week with something different for you. Subscribe below, and we'll see you then.